Hello my friends, welcome or welcome back to my channel. It's Mama Ming here. In today's video, I want to talk about my trying to conceive tips. So whether if you're thinking about having baby in 3 years, next year, or in several months, whether you're passively trying to conceive or actively trying to conceive, I hope these tips can help you as much as they help me. Also, at the time of filming this video, I am 35 weeks pregnant with baby number 2, pregnancy number 4. Ta-da! I am getting huge. 1 more month to go. So before we start, make sure you subscribe to this channel. It really helps me out, and also share it with your friends and give this video a thumbs up. Alright, without further ado, let's get into my tips to trying to conceive. The first thing is to start taking prenatal. This is actually very important because my blood work from my first baby versus this baby is very different, because when I was trying for my first baby, I was kind of like passively try a little bit, and I didn't take any prenatal before my first pregnancy, which ended up in a miscarriage. And then I started taking prenatal after I had a miscarriage for about 2 to 3 months, and then we successfully conceived my son. And my blood work, I was anemic, I had a lot of different deficiencies with vitamins, iron, and all kinds of stuff. So this pregnancy, because I already had a baby, I was taking prenatal consistently. Sometimes I forget, but at least in 1 week I remember to take at least 3 to 4 days. And when I am first pregnant, when they ran the blood test, my blood work was the best. I am the healthiest among my entire life because I've been consistently taking prenatal after I had the first baby. This is not me saying how I feel. This is not subjective. This is not placebo. I actually saw a difference in terms of my blood test, my labs, according to my doctor. So like, I'm way healthier this time compared to the last time. And I think part of it is because I was taking prenatal consistently after I had a first baby. Trying to conceive soon when you don't know when it's going to happen, the first thing you can do, the best for your body, for your health, is to start taking prenatal. And it's so easy. And this is pretty affordable as well. I'll link some down below in the description box. All right, so the second thing to consider, your partner could also consider to take some sort of vitamins. So it depends on the diet, right? A lot of times vitamins are not necessarily essential unless you're pregnant or the lab said you need the vitamins. But if you live in the Western society, if you live in the United States like we do, I do think that our diet doesn't really contain a balanced vitamins. So this is actually just a organic multivitamin, because it takes 2 people to make the babies. The genetic information, the sperm quality, the egg quality, the whatever. Yes, it's more essential for the female to take vitamins because the embryo, the fetus does develop from my body. But I feel like the health status of my husband also matters. So I was asking him to take my vitamins. And there's another supplement that I made him to take, is what we call CoQ10. So this one, I do want to tell you that before you take it, ask your doctor just in case it interact with your other medicine or anything. But this is basically a nutrition supplement that you can get from like Costco or DNC or something like this. And this actually is great for your cardiovascular health. So there were limited research in terms of how CoQ10 may support the egg quality and the sperm quality. It's not conclusive. It's not like, oh, research has confirmed that this is 100% going to help. But unless you have a reaction to CoQ10, or unless you're taking other medicines and this may interact with other medicines, or it may, like, ask your doctor whether you can take it. There is no harm taking it as long as there's no harm taking it. Like, I think this could also help. So when we're trying for our baby girl, we were both taking CoQ10, but mainly for him, and this says like it's good for cardiovascular health as well. So whether if you want to take it or not, it's your choice, but make sure you talk to your doctor. But I know that the prenatal and multivitamins are okay versus CoQ10, just in case you're not sure, always ask your doctor. But for us, we did take it, and I think it helped. We didn't take the whole bottle, we just took for like a month, and then we just magically conceived, so we didn't even finish the bottle. Once I'm pregnant, I no longer took it just because I want to take whatever my doctor tells me to take. I don't want to take anything that's extra other than a prenatal, because once I'm pregnant, I want to limit like what are the things that I put into my body. So these are the nutrition supplements for both me and my husband when we're trying to conceive. All right, so the next thing, do things that support my hormonal health. So personally, as a woman, we experience a lot of things in workplaces and life. If you already have a baby, you may be actually really fatigued. Having a balanced hormonal health is very essential, and it's not only just for trying to conceive, it's also essential for your health, your mental health, because when you have different hormonal disorders, not only it will affect your physical health, it may also make you have different mood swings, depressions, and things like that, because like our hormones actually regulate a lot of things, a lot of bodily functions, a lot of status of our body and our mental health. So these are the things that I think really helped me in terms of supporting my hormonal health. The first thing is there's certain things that could potentially be endocrine disruptors. Think about the microplastics. But a lot of times we accidentally consume a lot of microplastic. I am very guilty of it because I do a lot of like food reviews in my other main channel, which I'll link down below. So sometimes I will heat up food in a plastic container, and sometimes even though the black plastic container says it's microwave safe, it's still better not to use that particular plastic container. So if you're heating things up from the Ziploc bag, from the plastic container, from other things. And the worst thing I feel like is that my husband is not on board with this because he just thinks that, oh, we're gonna get old, we're gonna die of cancer regardless because of the genetics and stuff. He's just gonna go for convenience and things that are easy and things that are tasty. But he just doesn't know there are so many toxins in our environment that actually affects our everyday quality of life. So part of it is our endocrine disruptors, such as microplastic. So when you heat up food, try to use like a glass container, porcelain bowl, or other things that are not containing plastic. When you're using like other like skincare, makeup, try to go for the phthalate free because phthalates is proven to be endocrine disruptors. But also think about your diet, because a lot of times people are like, I'm eating low fat diet, I'm eating low carb diet, like, which I think it's beneficial in normal days. But when you're trying to conceive, like when you cut down your food intake significantly, when you're trying to go on certain diet, when you're like cut down certain food groups, it is extra stress in our body, which usually is not a big deal. But when you're trying to conceive, like your body should be in a very stress-free environment because that's what actually boosts your fertility. If we want to reproduce, we want to make sure we are already in a very stable environment with abundant food, or else like we're not going to experience the stress. Our body wouldn't allow us to have the stress to reproduce. Try to eat a more balanced diet so that your body doesn't experience any stress. Second of all, think about healthy fatty acids. Very important for your hormonal health is to eat healthy fats. Third is weight management. Is both underweight and overweight could disrupt your ovulation, could lead to infertility. So a healthy body weight, a healthy fat to muscle ratio is really important. The next thing is stress. Stress affects our hormones so much because in the past, every time when I was like going through my teenager years, every time I'm stressed, I lose my period. Every time I'm stressed, my period becomes irregular, and eventually I lose a period. It was just a whole ordeal. So try to manage your stress through yoga, meditation, gentle exercise, and there are also things that are not worth to be stressed about. I know it's easy said and done when you experience it, but just think about how much stress can affect your body, especially for me. I experienced it when I was a teenager. Like my period just suddenly gone because I'm going through a huge final test, just because I'm going through the college entrance examinations, just because certain things. And lastly is your sleep. This is so important because I used to not sleep a lot. I used to go to bed at 12 midnight and then I will wake up at 6 to go to work. So I would sleep 6 hours a day, which I think it's pretty standard to women around me. When I wasn't sleeping a lot, I did feel like there was more cortisol, there's more, I don't know, like I did not feel as happy as like now that like sometimes when I get more sleep, I feel happier. But part of it is that the lack of sleep can also affect reproductive hormones. It could also cause certain things. Explained infertility, like we don't know what's affecting it, but sleep could be an indicator because we know the lack of sleep could affect reproductive hormones. So if you have unexplained infertility, try to look for those things to holistically heal yourself in terms of your hormonal health, and it may be something to look into. We don't know if that's the particular thing that could heal you, that may help you to conceive a baby, but we know in general, research shows that these could be the factors that actually explain unexplained infertility. The next one is your partner's health. When we think about infertility, we think about women getting treatment, doing that. I'm actually so sick of the society blaming women for infertility, for issues, for miscarriages. Like every time I have a miscarriage, as a woman, we think about like, oh, there's something I did wrong. If I didn't do this, maybe I wouldn't have miscarried. So I am so sick of the society blaming women for everything. Like if we work, we are not good mom, we're not there for our kids. If we don't work, we're like not independent, we are not like, we're relying on a husband. Like there's no win. Like women are judged entirely. Like every time kid does something, it's always the mom's fault. But anyways, so if you're trying to conceive, if you have miscarriages like me in the past, try to have your partner's health checked as well. There are certain things that your partner should also do in terms of like boosting fertility. The first thing is quitting alcohol and smoking. So like, you know, for the partner, of course, you don't know if you're pregnant, you can't drink if you are not sure if you're pregnant. But for your partner, also need to be on. It's better if you don't drink or smoke at all. But if you do have like a social drink going out with friends, according to my doctor, it is safe for your partner maybe just consume 1 drink per week, and it limits the effect of alcohol on the system, on his health. The second thing is stress management. So personally, my partner does not drink, does not smoke at all. Like he doesn't even drink 1 drink for many months. So the problem with him is he has a lot of stress from work. He also doesn't sleep well because we have a toddler running around. So for him, also he had high cholesterol because he's not eating a healthy diet. So all of these things like the CoQ10 I told him to take and whatever could potentially help him. But at the end of the day, for stress management, I sent him to acupuncture. And it's crazy how like every time after a miscarriage, as long as I send my husband to acupuncture, and the acupuncturist is like, I'm just reducing his stress. Immediately that month, we're pregnant. So because after acupuncture, he felt really relaxed and he just fell asleep really well. Acupuncture is really good for a parasympathetic system, to calm your nervous system down, to help you sleep better, pain management, and a lot of things. So it's very important that your partner is also dealing with like improving his health to improve the sperm quality, because you know it also makes a difference. The third thing is for the male partner to avoid hot tubs, sauna, avoid certain material for underwear, especially tight underwears like polyester. It's better to wear 100% cotton underwear. These are the things that could also affect the sperm quality, sperm quantity, which is very important when you're trying to conceive. So those are the things that your partner also need to do. It's not just a woman's job to conceive a baby. It takes 2 people to conceive a baby. So very important is your partner's health should be also in check. So it's very important for your partner to be on board. The next thing that we did helping us trying to conceive is definitely, like I said, acupuncture. And I think for acupuncture, people either believe it or they don't believe it. Because I am Chinese descendant, like I received great benefits from acupuncture. Without acupuncture, I wouldn't be able to have baby at all, because throughout the teenager years, I never really ovulated. I lost my period every time I experienced stress, and eventually I just lost my period permanently. And I did go to a doctor, OBGYN, go to a hormone doctor. Like I was on many hormones to trigger period. So my period is back, but my period is only back if I'm on hormones, and I gained so much weight because of hormones. There's so much side effects from the synthetic hormones I was taking. So eventually I was so tired of it, and when I was about 22, I went to a acupuncturist who's a retired doctor, and she healed me within 2 months. Ever since I did acupuncture with her, my period was 28 days on the clock. It's like so accurate. The only time that I may have like a delay or early is when I travel, and due to the stress of traveling, it may affect my hormones. You see how like just a little bit of stress just affects my cycle like crazy, especially like if it's a little bit stress from the traveling. But because my acupuncturist helped me to have like a really regular cycle, I was able to ovulate, have a regular ovulation. I'm able to have babies now. But in the past, like when I went to my doctor asked me to track my ovulation, track my body temperature. For many months, I don't ovulate. I just do not have like that regular cycle. I did not have a good balanced hormonal health. It also affected my mental health when I was taking hormones. It was just very bad. So to me, acupuncture really helped, especially this time. So that happened in my 20s when I first seek for an acupuncturist, and she was a retired doctor. And this time I started to seeking for acupuncture after my first miscarriage, and it really helped me as well, because I did several sessions with her. I made my husband do a session, and we conceived our son. After the second miscarriage, I did 2 sessions with her, and my husband did 1 session, and we conceived our daughter, who's I'm pregnant for right now. So I'm super grateful for this traditional Chinese medicine. I think it really helps me to, in terms of my hormonal regulation, in terms of de-stressing for my husband. So if you are willing to try, find a licensed acupuncturist, and I trust the people who actually have a medical degree from China. Like when they immigrate here, if they get a license here, I trust people with a medical degree a little bit better. But overall, I am really grateful for my acupuncturist, and I think whether if you're trying to conceive or not, these things can really help. All right, so the next tip of trying to conceive is the active trying part. This is very important to track your cycle and ovulation. I made a video about like TTC, trying to conceive, in terms of cycle tracking using ovulation kit. So for me, the most important thing is to first know that your cycle is regular, whether it's 24 days, 25 days, 28 days, 30 days, or 35 days. I think your cycle is considered normal if you have 25 to 35 day cycle, as long as it's regular. And the most important thing is that you want to know that if you have ovulated, which wearing a device really helps. So I was using a Fitbit when I was trying for my first baby. I'm using this Apple Watch when I'm trying the second one. So both of my old Fitbit and this Apple Watch has a body surface temperature detector. So you can also get the body temperature, like trying to conceive, like orally. A more accurate one from the internet. I will try to find it and link it down below. So the idea is, even before you're trying to conceive, try to measure your body temperature. Usually your body temperature increases right after your ovulation. So by simply temping yourself, it doesn't really help you to time the baby dance with the ovulation, but at least you know you're ovulating, because that is one of the methods that my doctor told me to track my ovulation, to make sure that I ovulate every single month. And this happened like when I was 18. He was like, you need to make sure you ovulate. If you don't, it will affect your fertility in the future. So using some sort of temping device really helped. I'll link some of the things that I was using and some of the things I found down below. First thing is track your basal body temperature. The second thing is to actually using an ovulation kit. So the ovulation kit is basically a strip that you pee in the cup, you dip the strip into the cup, and it will tell you the LH hormones. If you have a surge of LH hormone, it means it will trigger your ovulation. So the LH hormone is actually released from your brain. That is why it's very important to have enough sleep and not a lot of stress, because I did realize that there's certain times when my ovulation become a little bit late or a little bit early because of my mental activities. Like for example, the month that we conceived for a son, my nephew was born. So my nephew was born with complications, and we were very worried. He was in the NICU, and I was so worried that I didn't ovulate. It was like cycle day 13 didn't ovulate, 14 there's no LH surge, 15 no surge, 16 no surge. And then it's funny, on the 17th, the cycle day 17, I went to the hospital, I went to NICU to visit my nephew for the first time. He was doing well, he was stabilized, and everything is good. I magically had a surge that night, and I was like, I'm ovulating right now. We have to baby dance. And we only baby danced that one time, and we conceived our son. So stress really affects your ovulation. It really affects whether you can get pregnant, whether you know or not. because I was a little bit stressed, like I just wouldn't ovulate that month. And in the past, I always ovulate earlier than, you know, the 14th. Using the ovulation kit really helps me both times to conceive. Now let's talk about cycle tracking. I talked about it in my cycle tracking video. So essentially, if the first day of your period is your cycle day 1, you usually average ovulate on cycle day 14, but it's very normal for women to ovulate between cycle day 12 to 16, which is 2 days before, 2 days after. Occasionally, you could ovulate on cycle day 11. You could ovulate on cycle day 17. In my case, both happened before. So what happens is that when you time your baby dance with your ovulation, you want to time your baby dance before you ovulate and on the day of your ovulation, not afterwards, because the sperms actually live longer than the egg. Once you ovulate, your egg lives about 12 to 24 hours. However, the sperm can live between 1 to 5 days. So of course you want the sperms to be there waiting for the egg instead of the egg be there waiting for the sperm, because you have to wait for the sperm to swim there as well. So not to say it takes a long time to swim, but sperm can live up to 5 days, but the egg only lives for 12 to 24 days. Depending on your egg may only live 12 hours. So you want to do the baby dance before you ovulate, not after you ovulate. So how to determine that you can do the baby dance before you ovulate? So that is why ovulation kit really helps, because if you have LH surge, let's say on cycle day 12, that means you were about to ovulate in the next 8 to 36 hours. How long are you going to ovulate after the surge? We don't know, but it's the LH surge that triggers the ovulation. So after the LH surge, you may ovulate right away, or maybe in 8 hours and 12 hours. So you want to do the baby dance the moment you have a surge. But if your period is super regular at 28 days, let's say, for example, if you always ovulate on cycle day 14, you want to do the baby dance on the cycle day 14, 13, 12, ISK. Also, another thing is I actually did the research. So even though it says a sperm can live up to 5 days, most sperms, they do not live up to 5 days. Also, depending on the age. My husband is over 40, so if you're a little bit older, your sperm motility doesn't live up that far. According to research, so most sperms die after 3 days. So most sperms die after 3 days. It's possible that the sperm live up to 5 days, but usually after 3 days, they're like, not a lot of them are alive. So you don't want to try baby dance too early, but you also don't want to baby dance too late. So you want to baby dance about 2 days before you actually ovulate. 1 day before or the day off is the best. So that's why if you're just using the body temperature, if you notice, oh, my body temperature increased, that means you already ovulated. That means there's a chance that it's too late. Versus if you use the ovulation kit to predict the surge, and the surge is triggering the ovulate happened after the surge, then you can actually do the baby dance right at the surge, and you can do it again the next day, which is possibly the day of your ovulation. Here is the question, whether it's better to passively try and actively try. So a lot of women said that they were actively trying and it was a lot of stress on both her and her partner. They decided not to try actively, they just decided to passively try, and then end up having a baby. So they were like, okay, do not actively try, do not time it, do not stress about it, just passively try, and magically they're pregnant. Versus for me, I first passively tried for 6 months and it did not happen at all. And I actively tried for 2 months, and the second month I was pregnant. Finally understand why it worked for some people but not for the others. If you have a busy schedule, I realized that when we were passively trying, every time we baby danced, it was always too early for the ovulation or right after the ovulation. It's just too late. It's whether too early or too late, because both of us work a lot during the week. So if my ovulation is always midweek and I'm super regular, let's say I always ovulate on weekday Thursday and I only baby dance on Saturday and Sunday, I will never conceive. which was actually the case because I think in the cycle that we actually conceived, we actually had to try midweek, which is kind of like not in our schedule most of the times. But for other people, like me, it's possible. And also some people, like they don't always ovulate. Their cycle is a little bit more irregular. They could ovulate on Monday this month. They could ovulate on Saturday the next month. They could ovulate. Like if the dates are a little bit different, it's easier for them to try. But what I learned from all of this women's experience compared to my experience, I think we can safely say 3 things. The first thing is it never hurts you to know your cycle. Second of all, whether if you use an ovulation kit, you can still kind of pinpoint what are the days that are fertility window, because it's usually your cycle day 12 to 16. Even if you don't use the actual ovulation kit, you can actually just do baby dance during the mid-cycle for you. The third thing is, I think for a lot of people who actively tried, it didn't work, it stressed them out, it hurts their whatever, I think they're just getting too emotional about it. I feel like nothing is worth you to be stressed out. And remember, stress is one of the most important factor when it comes to disrupting your hormonal health. So you definitely don't want to stress about something that actually has interference with. Even if you're like actively trying, don't stress about it. Maybe this month, from this day to this day, put it on your calendar, have day nights on those days, put those in their schedule, and it works. Absolutely no reason to stress about something that is so out of your control. So finally, how long does it take to conceive? So for us, it takes average between 1 to 3 months to conceive. Remember, we actually conceived 4 times, even though 2 of them ended in miscarriage. The first time we tried for 2 months, we were pregnant the second month and miscarried. The third time we tried the first month, conceived right away, miscarriage. For our actual like full-term pregnancy, the first time after the miscarriage, I tried it again on the 3rd month, I conceived. Versus this time after the miscarriage, I tried again, didn't work, and tried again, I conceived. It's like 2nd month that I tried and conceived. However, we were both very healthy. We do not have infertility issues, and I was doing everything in my power to boost both of our fertility. And I think it did really help. But on average, it takes about 3 to 6 months for healthy couples to conceive a baby. Just because I conceived within 2 to 3 months doesn't mean everyone conceived in 2 to 3 months. So according to research, on average, it takes about 3 to 6 months. But sometimes, depending on other factors, it could take up to 6 to 12 months trying to conceive. Because the chance of you conceiving baby, even if you've done everything right, is between 20 to 25%. So let's say if you tried for 3 months and not conceiving, that's very normal, because every single month you only have 20 to 25% of the chance to conceive, actually, even though both of you are healthy. So I think that just speaks to that it's not easy to conceive a baby. It's truly a miracle. There's so many things out of control. If you're under 35 trying to conceive for 12 months, talk to your doctor. If you're over 35 after 6 months of trying, make sure you talk to your doctor. Your chance of conceiving every single month could also potentially drop if you are getting older. And this is not to say that like it's absolutely like that, because I am a little bit older. On the older side, I'm currently 35 with my second baby. I'm definitely on the little bit older side, but I'm still like, when I conceived, I was 34. But at the same time, after 35 years of age, like your fertility definitely significantly decreased as a woman. After men is 40 to 45 years of age, their fertility also lowered significantly. It's not like saying you have to have miscarriage or infertility to talk to a fertility doctor. Like even if you're healthy adults, healthy couples, like you're just thinking about having babies, having a consultation with a fertility doctor could potentially also help. So yeah, these are the tips of trying to conceive fast, especially after miscarriages that I experienced. I hope this video helps you. If you think it's helpful, make sure you give it a thumbs up and share with your friends, and really do me a favor if you can subscribe to this channel and ring the notification bell. And I hope to see you in my next one. Bye!